and welcome to 5-Minute Sociology with myself, Adam Melvin. Today I'm going to start a new series of videos still related to sociology and sociology of health and illness, but what this is going to look at is inequalities in health and social inequalities. So this should be a whole video series. This will be handy for people studying health and social care, people that are studying nursing, medicine, because there's always going to be a social element to health. Okay, now the first video that I want to do today is really just going to be a basic introduction really to inequalities, social inequalities and health inequalities. Okay, so what do we mean by social inequalities? Well, in sociology, we generally are thinking about groups of people that don't have access to certain resources or certain opportunities that other groups in society have. Okay, so I'll give you an example of a social inequality, and obviously we can split this up into different categories. So, for example, gender, age, sexuality, disability, all these different areas, we can kind of divide it up. Okay, then if we take social class as our first example, now let's think about social class in relation to education. Now, we know and we can see through research and statistics that people in lower socioeconomic groups tend to have poorer educational opportunities than those in higher socioeconomic groups. So, for example, if someone is privately educated, goes to a private secondary school, the chances of them going to university are much higher than someone that's educated in a state school in a sort of lower socioeconomic area. Now, this is not to say that nobody from a lower socioeconomic area goes to university. Of course they do, but we're talking about the range of opportunities available to individuals, okay? And there's a very famous sociologist and philosopher, Bourdieu, who talks about this, and he talks about the fact that there is social and cultural capital within our society. So what that means is, whereas we would have monetary capital, social and cultural capital are ways of behaving and mannerisms that we can't really buy. We can't buy them, we can only be sort of taught them. So, having a very good education, you're going to be taught how to behave in certain situations in society, and the idea being this kind of gets you further on in society. You know how to behave in a job interview, all these different kind of areas. So it would help you progress. Okay, so that's one example. Now let's think of another example, gender. Okay, so there's inequalities, social and health inequalities within gender. Okay, and I'm sort of looking at social inequalities and health inequalities together because often social inequalities lead to health inequalities or vice versa. Okay, so gender. Now, I'm just going to put something on the screen in a second. So what you're looking at now is a life expectancy graph from the Office for National Statistics. And that's showing life expectancy for men and women. And we can see that women live longer than men. So that's kind of our first health inequality that we've got there. So women live longer than men. Now, there is an interesting trend because women live longer than men. However, women suffer with more ill health throughout their lives than men do. Okay, so men die younger, women live longer, women have more ill health throughout their lives. So there's a few kind of inequalities there already. Interestingly, if you look at the COVID-19 statistics, the mortality rate, so mortality is death rate, morbidity is illness rate. So the mortality rate for COVID-19 is higher for men. So this actually fits with the graph we're looking at there, where men are dying younger than women. Okay, now, so that's another example that we can use. Now, there's lots of other areas that we can look at, and I'm going to do a video series, so this is just a really quick introduction. The other areas we can look at in the future will be social class in more detail, disability, ethnicity, gender. Okay, so all these areas, there is trends within them that show social and health inequalities. Okay, right, so I hope that's been a helpful kind of introduction to this. As I said, keep an eye out for these. I'm going to be posting one of these to a video twice a month. That's what I'm going to try and do. So keep an eye out for these, and we'll continue looking at social and health inequalities.